Hello everyone, thanks so much for tuning into my channel this week. This week marks part 2 of the substitute series. So last week, Hello everyone, and thanks so much for tuning into my channel. Now before I move any further into this week's topic, you know what I'm going to do. If you like this video, please be sure to click like. And if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. If you haven't belled me, please go ahead and bell me so that you can get an update every time I post new content. And if you're interested in looking at the blog for this particular video, you can check that out on my website at www.shikahenley.com. Okay, so welcome back. Thanks for tuning in for week 2 of the substitute series, as I should call it. Last week I talked about how teachers and administrators can better support subs when they're in their building, and this is the reverse. This is how, as a sub, you can actually advocate for yourself more once you are in the building. So I just want you to go ahead and stay tuned, pay attention to these tips. I have 5 for you, and I hope that you find these to be helpful. Number 1. Ask questions. So when you arrive in the building, please be sure to ask questions. If you feel as if you haven't gotten enough information, if you need more context, anything that's a need to know, who do I contact for this? What happens if I need this? Where can I leave this? Be sure to come prepared with questions that you know you need answered in order to be successful in that particular school and that particular day. Number 2, introduce yourself to everyone. So make sure when you walk in, you say, hey, I am Miss Henley and I'm here subbing for Miss Jane Doe today with her 8th graders. Make sure you introduce yourself to the kids. If you have some time off or prep period, pop in just to see what's going on with them, with other teachers, just to get to know other teachers. But really introduce yourself to better acclimate yourself to the building, but then to also get the students acclimated to the fact that you're also in the building for that day. And when you need to lean on teachers for support, they know who you are. They just don't say, well, I know it's a sub here. I don't know who the person is. I don't remember her name. Make sure you just introduce yourself and you make sure that you're comfortable in the building and they're comfortable with you. Number 3. Now, number 3, I know can be tricky because you're doing a different thing every day in different schools with different groups of kids, but you need to be sure you're really actively involved in teaching. So if you receive those sub plans, make sure you take them, you look over them, and you actively walk the students through that sub plan. Make sure if they're working on an assignment and the teacher says they need 10 minutes to just define vocabulary words, give them that 10 minutes, say, okay, it's been 10 minutes. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. See if you can get some kids to share out, but really involve yourself in the teaching. Make sure you're walking around the classroom, you're monitoring students' progress, you're monitoring what they're doing, because that's going to show the students that you're actively engaged in what you're doing, and it's going to make them more actively engaged in the activity that they have to do as well. Number 4, be sure to implement your own accountability measures. Now, I understand that going into a different school, you don't have access to their particular systems, but there are some things that you can do as a sub to hold students accountable. So, for example, making sure you're collecting work, making sure you're timing students as they're doing work, making sure you're taking little notes. You may take notes about students on a roster, or you may write a note to leave for a teacher for the administration. But make sure you're trying to implement simple accountability measures so that students know, okay, I'm here, I'm in this building, and I am going to hold you accountable for whatever it is you need to do. And even if I'm not here tomorrow, I'll make sure whoever is here tomorrow is going to hold you accountable for what you're supposed to do today. And number 5, leave feedback. Make sure you leave some sort of a note. As an administrator, I always read those notes. I want to know what you said, because those are things that are going to help better prepare me when I have another sub coming into my building. I want to make sure that you want to return to my building. I want to make sure that the kids have a good experience when they're there with you or with another sub. So please be sure to make sure you leave that feedback. So just to let us know, how did things go for the day? What was this particularly challenging? What went really well? But these are all things that are helpful for us to know. Bonus. Pro tip. So this is just something that I generally out here teachers talk about, things that I've experienced, things that administrators may talk about, but just make sure that you're always respecting the teacher space and the teaching space. So that means that you want to avoid rummaging through drawers and handing things out, or giving students treats, or allowing students to go into cabinets or things like that. Just make sure that everything that is sealed, closed, and locked remains sealed, closed, and locked. It's really important that you're respecting that teacher space, because even though the teacher isn't there, there, that really is, it's like house sitting for someone. That's their home space, and they want to make sure that you are comfortable in that space, but that you're also respecting that space as well. Okay, it's recap time. It was like a lot of things I did there, but it is recap time. So here are your 5 tips to help if you are a substitute teacher and you want to make things as smooth as possible when you are in a new school. So number 1, be sure to ask questions. Have a list of things that you need answered so that you can be successful that day. Number 2, introduce yourself to everyone. Make sure staff knows who you are, admin knows who you are, make sure the kids know who you are. The more people who know who you are, the more comfortable they're going to be with you being there, and it'll be much easier for you once you're there. Number 3, actively engage in teaching. Make sure you're monitoring student progress. You're walking around, you're timing kids when they're working on things so that you're as involved as possible in that particular lesson. Number 4, implement your own accountability measures, things that you can definitely hold kids responsible for: collecting work, timing them, making sure you're jotting down notes about things that kids are doing or aren't doing. But these are all things that you can use to hold students accountable for what they're doing while they're with you. Number 5, leave feedback. Be sure to leave feedback for your administration, for your teacher, because we actually do read through that feedback and we use that to help us when we have new subs coming in. So please be sure to leave feedback so that we know what to fix or what to leave the same. And the last thing was the pro tip was to respect the teacher space. I have to say that again. Respect the teacher space. So just make sure that you are ensuring that students aren't necessarily in an area of the room they shouldn't be in, or in a cabinet or something they shouldn't be in, or you're distributing things from a teacher's desk. Make sure you're respecting that space, because again, you are house sitting in that space, and it's really a very intimate space for teachers because they're there all the time. So I hope you liked this particular video. I'm glad you tuned in for my sub-series. If you are interested in learning more information as a substitute teacher, please make sure you check the previous video or the previous blog. If you like this video, you know what to do. Please be sure to hit like. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And bell me if you haven't belled me, so you can get an update every time I have some new content that is posted. If you're interested in checking out any blog that I've written, or especially the blog for this particular video, you can check that out on my website at www.shikahenley.com. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.